John, come to the front. No? It's on, okay. Call the meeting to order. Mr. Vlasic, please do a roll call.
Carroll,
Here.
Murphy Lopez,
Here.
Van Landite,
Here.
Deep, McKee, Brewer,
Here.
Luck, Manning, Gotcho, Glassbrenner, Wagner, Gentis, Turk,
Here.
Cosgrove,
Here.
Frank, Peterson,
Present.
Williamson,
Here.
Cooley,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Van is here,
Yes.
Paul, McGuire, 19 present and 2 absent.
Thank you. Can you lead us in the pledge, please, Mr. Vlasic? Mr. Vlasic, did we have a member of the clergy here for an invocation?
Yes,
Online, okay.
Where did that voice come from? On the screen. Thank you.
Pastor Michelle Alfers.
Thank you, Pastor Alpers. I'm sorry I skipped you. I didn't mean to. Please go ahead.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, bless all the public servants in the government of this county, that they may do their work in a spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice. Help them use their authority to serve faithfully and to promote our common life. Lord God, we also ask you to bless the upcoming elections, that all may be safe. And Lord God, in this time, we just remember that you are our refuge and strength. In all our conflicts, help us to confront one another without hatred, to listen for your voice amid competing claims, and to work together with respect. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. If you would please turn your attention to the agenda. We have actually a 46-point agenda tonight. Items 18 and 40 are repeats, so we will delete item 18. And item number 22 is stricken because it hasn't gone through committee yet. So I'll entertain a motion for a 46-point agenda. Mr. Manning seconds. Mr. Cosgrove makes the motion. All those in favor of the motion, the 46-point agenda, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we have an agenda. The minutes of the September meeting were published. Do we have any corrections, additions, complaints? any comments on the minutes from the September meeting? Hearing none, I'm going to declare those minutes approved as published. Takes us to item number 6, a public hearing on the proposed 2020 county budget. The budget has been published. It's become a matter of public record. We will invite public comment at this time. Do we have any public on the telephone or attending? Mr. Severson?
Would this be considered the 2021 budget or for the remainder of this year, 2020?
This is the 2021 budget, I'm sorry. I read what was in front of me. Of course, it's the 2021 budget. Thank you. Was that comment correction over there? Okay. All right. I do not hear any public comment, so we will proceed. I'll declare the public hearing closed. Thank you, Ben. Number 7, a resolution awarding the sale of $1,050,000 taxable general obligation promissory notes. Mr. Langren.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, looking tonight for a resolution awarding the sale of $1,550,000 taxable general obligation promissory notes. Whereas on September 15th, 2020, the County Board of Supervisors of Richland County, Wisconsin, the county, by vote of at least 3/4 of members elected, adopted an initial resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation promissory notes in an amount of excess not to exceed $1,050,000 for the public purpose of financing capital improvement projects, including highway improvements, vehicles and fleet management, technology capital improvements, facility maintenance and improvements, radio and tower project engineering and project design, collectively the project. And above referenced initial resolution is referred to herein as the initial resolution. Whereas the County Board of Supervisors whereby finds and determines that the project is within the county's powers to undertake and therefore serves a public purpose, as that term is defined in section 67.041B Wisconsin statutes. Whereas the county is authorized by the provisions of section 67.1212 Wisconsin state statutes to borrow money and issue general obligation promissory notes for such public purposes. Whereas it has been determined that it is in the best interest of the county to issue such notes on taxable rather than tax exempt basis. Whereas the county has directed Wisconsin Public Finance Professionals LLC, WPFP, to take the steps necessary to sell the county's taxable general obligation promissory notes, the notes to pay the cost of the project. Whereas WPFP, in consultation with the officials of the county, prepared an official notice of sale, a copy of which is attached hereto as Exhibit A, and incorporated herein by this reference, setting forth the details of and the bid requirements for the notes and indicating that the notes would be offered for public sale on October 27th, 2020. Whereas the county clerk, in consultation with WPFP, caused notice of the sale of notes to be published and or announced and caused the official notice of sale to be distributed to potential bidders offering the notes for public sale. Whereas the county has duly received bids for the notes as described in the bid tabulation attached hereto as Exhibit B and incorporated herein by the reference, the bid tabulation. And whereas it has been determined that the proposal submitted by the financial institution listed first on the bid tabulation fully complies with the bid requirements set forth the official notice of sale and is deemed to be the most advantageous to the county. WPFP has recommended that the county accept the proposal. A copy of said proposal submitted to this by such institution, the purchaser, is attached hereto as Exhibit C and incorporated herein by the references. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Board of Supervisors of the county that Section 1, ratification of the official notice of sale offering materials, the county board, exhibits on we go. Do you care for me to continue reading on through the entire resolution
No,
with
but
sections here?
I'm going to interrupt you and ask Mr. Vlasic if we have a number for this resolution.
It would be number 110.
Thank you. And I don't think you need to continue reading, but you've heard the resolution. Do I have a motion? Mr. Cooey, seconded by Mr. Seep. Okay, any further discussion or questions? And I guess we would call on Carol perhaps to fill us in if necessary. This is the ongoing borrowing package that we've done. And it's a little bit different than we have in the past. This is short-term borrowing as opposed to long-term. So, am I correct in that assumption, Carol? Yes. That very. Yeah. How big a majority do we need here for this final action? Just members present. Thank you. Okay. Is everyone ready to vote on this? All those in favor of the sale of 1,050,000 taxable general obligation promissory notes signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
I guess we need a roll call, Marty.
Do we need a roll? All right, roll call, please.
Van Andite, Seep, McKee, Brewer,
Aye.
Luck, Manning, Glassbrenner, Wagner, Gentis, Turk, Cosgrove, Frank, Severson, Williamson, Cooley, Nelson,
No.
Call, Carroll,
Aye.
Murphy Lopez,
Aye.
18 in favor and 1 against.
Thank you. The resolution is adopted. And thank you, Carol, for making the trip over. Did you dodge any deer on the way? I imagine you did. Okay, good luck. Thank you. Number 8, a resolution relating to the county's contribution to the cost of town highway bridge construction required by Wisconsin statute, section 82.08. Mr. Vlasic.
This would be resolution number 111. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county shall pay the following amounts as financial aid for the following bridge and culvert projects in the following towns as mandated by Wisconsin statute section 82.08. Town of Sylvan, Fish School, the total cost is $22,620.74. The county part of the aid is $11,310.37. Town of Ithaca, Spiral Drive, total cost $41,307.64. County portion is $20,653.82. Town of Richland, Covered Bridge, total cost is $74,955.78. The county share is $37,477.89. The total cost of the project is $138,884.16, with the county share being $69,442.08. The resolution is offered by the Highway and Transportation Committee. Steve Williamson, Gary Banning, Kerry Severson, Mark Cooley, and I can't read the rest. Anyway, all 5 are voting in favor.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What is your pleasure? Mr. Cooley, seconded by Richard. Further discussion? Costs money to build bridges. All those in favor of the resolution for the county's contribution to these bridges signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 9 is a resolution pertaining to adopting now the Richland County budget for 2021. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 112, I'm sorry. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the 2021 budget includes revenues from the county sales tax in the estimated amount of $1,250,000. And be it further resolved that the sum of $10,493,886.91 be used and hereby is levied upon all taxable property in Richland County for county purposes for the year 2020. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by Sean Murphy Lopez, Mark Cooey, Marty Brewer, Linda Gentis, Melissa Luck, Don Seep, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mrs. Call? And seconded by Mr. Murphy Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We have a budget. Now, Mike, if you'd come to the podium, please. We have several things here that Mike Bindle is involved with. So we're looking at agenda items 10, 11, 23, 24, 34, 35, 36. So we will take item number 10, a resolution approving the town of Rockbridge rezoning of a parcel belonging to Kerry Norman. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 113. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors in accordance with Wisconsin Statute Section 60.623 that approval is hereby granted to the town of Rockbridge rezoning of the following 22.05 acre parcel from the agricultural forestry district to the agricultural residential district in accordance with the town of Rockbridge zoning ordinance.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Cosgrove, seconded by Seep. Discussion? Background?
The background on this is that Mr. Norman's creating 2 lots for buildable sites.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor of the resolution indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 11, resolution approving the town of Ithaca's rezoning of a parcel. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 114. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors in accordance with Wisconsin Statute Section 60.62(3) that approval is hereby granted for rezoning the following described parcel from the agricultural forestry district to the residential 2 district in accordance with the town of Ithaca's zoning ordinance. The resolution is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Steve Williamson, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, and Ingrid Glassbrenner all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Seep, seconded by Mr. Cooey. Background?
Background is Mr. Wingfield is selling some acreage over to the cemetery for more burial plots.
Oh. Okay. Cemetery has to expand. It's a growth business. Growth industry, that's what I wanted to say. Okay. You've heard the resolution. All those in favor of adoption signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Now, Mike, do you want to jump down to the ordinances on the parcels, or do you want to take items 23 and 24? It's up to you.
Let's go down 23, 24 and keep on going down.
All right. Item number 23, a resolution authorizing the Land Records Office to apply for and accept a grant from the Wisconsin Land Records Board. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 115. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Land Records Office to apply for and accept a Wisconsin Land Records Board grant totaling $123,048 with the work to be accomplished by not later than December 31st, 2022. And be it further resolved that approval is hereby granted for the grant funds to be spent according to the terms of the grant and for the following uses. One, $50,000 toward the completion of statutorily required benchmarks to create a statewide digital parcel map. Two, $72,048 to develop, maintain, and operate a basic land information system and for the implementation of Richland County's Land Information Plan. Three, $1,000 for educational and training purposes. And be it further resolved that the county clerk is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county such documents as may be necessary to carry out this resolution. And be it further resolved that approval is hereby granted for entering into such contract as approved by the Zoning and Land Information Committee in accordance with this resolution and signed on behalf of the county by Zoning Administrator Mike Bindle. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Linda Gentis, Ingrid Glassbender, Steve Williamson, and Chad Cosgrove all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What is your pleasure? Mr. Cooey, Mr. Cosgrove. Make the motion. All those in favor? Or do we want a discussion from Mike? Mike, fill us in a little bit.
This is the grant money that we apply for every year. We've been doing it for the last several years. This is what's going to help our budget.
That's great news, anything that helps the budget. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The resolution is adopted. Number 25, a resolution approving the Land Conservation Committee applying for and accepting a lake monitoring and protection grant from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Okay, 24, I'm sorry. Yeah, I skipped 24. A resolution approving a contract for high accuracy topographic mapping of the county. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 116. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for a contract with Ayers Associates Incorporated of Madison to pay the entire cost of $29,651 to conduct high accuracy topographic mapping known as light detection and ranging, LIDAR, of the entire county in 2021. And be it further resolved that the $29,651 cost of this project shall be paid entirely from the already approved land information grant. And be it further resolved that the county clerk is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the committee such contract with Ayers as is approved by the Zoning and Land Information Committee in accordance with this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Linda Gentis, Ed Cosgrove, Steve Williamson, and Ingrid Glassman are all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What is your pleasure? Mr. Cooey, Mr. Williamson seconds. Background, comments?
The background on this is the last time it was done is back in 2010. The purpose before it was in 2010 was just because of all the flooding we had back in 2008. What's going to happen now is going to be more detailed and all that. And in the last several years, USDS has paid 50% of the cost of counties getting remapped. And with this year, there's also another 25% that's getting paid. So that's why the county's fee or cost is going to be only $29,651 compared to the $118,000. So it'd be a good time to do it in cost savings. And a lot of departments use it with land conservation, highway, sheriff, and also Richland Electric Company also uses it a lot. It'll be a lot better and it'll be more up to state statutes that's coming up.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the contract for high accuracy LIDAR, that's what we're talking about. Yes, Mr. Seep?
Yes. Is my mic on?
Yes.
Mike, I think the resolution mentions 2000 to be used in 2020 and 2021. Does that mean that what's been done in 2020 as part of this grant money, or what does that term 2020, 2021 mean?
We've already got the money from those grants to help cover the cost of it. Nothing has been started. Richland County is one of 3 counties that has the oldest LiDAR out there. So that's why it needs to be updated.
So the aerial photography that was done that led to the issues with zoning over permits is not part of this?
No, what you're talking about is when we did ortho photography where they took the pictures. What they're doing here is taking radar readings to get the elevations of the ground, not the pictures.
All right, that's helpful, thank you.
Okay, you've heard the resolution, you've heard a discussion. Are you ready to vote? I think so. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Okay, now, Mike, are we ready for number 34?
Sure.
Mr. Vlasic, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Bradley and Donna Ann Marvin? I probably said that wrong, in the town of Aiken.
This will be ordinance number 31, amendment number 507. That the following 33-acre parcel belonging to Bradley and Duane Marvin in the town of Aiken is hereby rezoned from the General Agricultural and Forestry District, A-F, to the Agricultural and Residential, A-R District. The ordinance is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Linda Gentis, Steve Williamson, Chad Cosgrove, and Ingrid Glassbrenner, all signing in favor.
You've heard the ordinance. What's your pleasure? Mrs. Gentis, seconded by Mr. Cooey. Background?
The background on this parcel as it was created back in the 1990s. And what happened is it never got rezoned after the township adopted county zoning, and now they're just bringing it to conformity.
Okay, thank you. So basically, this is catch-up work, it sounds like. So, all those in favor of this ordinance, this is an ordinance because it's different than the resolutions where the townships have their own land use plan. So this is an ordinance now. All those in favor of this ordinance signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We have adoption of the ordinance. Number 35, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to John and Mary Pat Call in the town of Buena Vista. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be ordinance number 32, amendment number 508. That the following described 30.53-acre parcel belonging to John and Mary Pat Call in the town of Buena Vista is hereby rezoned from the General Agricultural and Forestry District, A-F, to the Agricultural Residential, A-R District. The ordinance is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Linda Gentis, Steve Williamson, Chad Cosgrove, and Ingrid Glassbrenner, all signing in favor.
You've heard the ordinance. What is your pleasure? Mrs. Call, you're making that motion, seconded by Mr. Williamson. Background?
The background on this is that the Coles have or own the Bear Valley Ballpark, if anyone knows where that's at. What they're doing is separating that out from the rest of the land that they have in that area. The rest of the land is still less than 35 acres after it's split off the ballpark, so that's why both parcels will be rezoned to ag residential.
Thank you. All right, the Bear Valley Ballpark is what we're talking about. All those in favor of this ordinance signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Number 36, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Larry Ferguson and Brian and Rachel Jelenic in the town of Dayton. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be ordinance number 33, amendment number 509. That the following 3-acre parcel belonging to Larry Ferguson and Brian and Rachel Jelenic in the town of Dayton is hereby rezoned from the General Agricultural and Forestry District, A-F, to the Single Family Residential, R-2 District. The ordinance is offered by the Zoning and Land Information Committee. Mark Cooey, Linda Gentis, Chad Cosgrove, Steve Williamson, and Ingrid Glassbrenner, all signing in favor.
You've heard the ordinance. What's your pleasure? Mr. Wagner, seconded by Mr. That guy back there, yeah. Cooey. Mr. Cooey. Background.
The background on this is that the Genetics is buying the land from Ferguson's to build a house on.
I guess we should have voted on that. Well, no. We've got a motion and a second. And we've heard the background. So are we ready to vote? All those in favor of this ordinance signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It is adopted. Thank you, Mike.
45, 46.
Well, I don't know. I think we ought to make you hang around. Mike, are there any petitions for zoning received since the last county board session?
There is an application by Cheryl Dobbs, Bradley Dobbs, to rezone 5.44 acres from Ag Forestry to Ag Residential, Section 5, Town of Aiken. And there's an application by the Swain family to rezone 3 acres from Ag Forestry to Residential 2, Section 5, Town of Willow. And there's nothing that's been denied.
Number 46. Okay, thank you. We'll refer this, number 45, the items listed to the zoning committee for consideration. Thank you. All right, gets us back to our agenda. And it looks like we're down to number 12. The resolution approving provider contracts for 2021 for Health and Human Services Department. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 117, and I assume you don't want me to read all these. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Health and Human Services Board to enter into the following provider contracts for 2021. The resolutions offered by the County Board Supervisor members of the Health and Human Services Board, Carrie Severson, Peg Call, and Ingrid Glassbrenner, all signing in favor.
All right, you've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Melissa makes the motion and seconded by Ingrid Glassbrenner. These are maybe for the newer members of the board. I will talk about the way that Health and Human Services has to do things. They have to do contracts with providers and caregivers and whatever else is out there. And they have to, for budgetary purposes and to know where they're at, they have to have these things extended. And sometimes just looking at the sheer magnitude of some of them is disturbing, but not always is all of that money used. It's simply, this is a worst case scenario, maybe you'd put it that way in many of these cases. So unless you have some specific questions about these, I will call for a vote. All right.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can I just make one comment on this, please?
Yes, please.
So there is one contractor on here. They're listed as VARC Incorporated, and I have expressed this concern to Director Thorson already, but there was an article that came out about a month ago in the La Crosse media that one of the executives of VARC had been paid out $1 million in, I believe it was a retirement package, and it was so it was an annual salary of $1 million. And the thing that concerns me about this, I understand what VARC does. You know, VARC allows people who have difficulty gaining employment in the community to gain employment, and they employ a lot of people from Richland Center and neighboring counties to go in to workplaces, say a hardware store or a gas station, and help people, their job coaches. And these are not high-paid positions at all whatsoever that VARC employs people with. So obviously they do really good and important needed work. But my concern, my concern is the amount of payout that that their executive person received. I'm concerned that they're taking a lot of government contract money, whether it's from us or the state or the federal government, and they are using it to pad the pockets of executives. And when people that are working for them are making $10 or $12 an hour, I have a problem with that. So I just want to mention that I think it'd be great if we could look for, I don't know if there are any other alternative providers. I'm also not sure if there's any laws that can be looked into. I did a quick Google search, and I think there is some sort of a federal law on executive compensation and how that has to be disclosed for I believe VARC is a nonprofit organization. So just want to mention, I have this concern. I'm not going to vote against this whole thing because of that, but I just think it's something that folks in our county should be aware of.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, I'm going to call for a vote for the 21 provider contracts for Health and Human Services. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the resolution is adopted. Number 13, revenue contracts for 2021 for the Health and Human Services Department. Mr. Vlasic?
This will be resolution number 118. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Health and Human Services Board to enter into the following revenue contracts for 2021. The resolutions offered by the County Board Supervisor members of the Health and Human Services Board, Carrie Severson, Peg Call, and Ingrid Glassbrenner, all signing in favor.
All right, you've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? This is Glassbrenner and seconded by Richard. Thank you. I guess they're before you on the screen. They're also on your laptop. Your iPad, I should say. It's not a laptop, it's an iPad. Any questions or comments? Do we have Tracy Thorson on the phone or remotely?
Mr. Chair, yes, I'm here.
Hi, Tracy. Any comments on this?
No, these are just contracts where we receive the revenue from the state and other sources.
Okay, you're not coming through as clearly and concisely as normally, so. But I'll ask our audience and our supervisors if they have any questions or concerns here. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the resolution indicate by saying aye. 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 Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Thank you, Tracy. All right, number 14, a resolution approving the Department of Health and Human Services to apply for and accept additional funding on the state opioid response prevention services grant from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution 119. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Department of Health and Human Services to apply for and accept additional grant funding from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services in accordance with the state opioid response prevention services grant to Richland County with the $109,044 additional grant to be used for the following purposes. $15,000 in additional funding for current substance abuse treatment staff to coordinate care and update current memorandums of understanding with local providers for medication-assisted treatment. $22,044 for an additional 10 hours per week of substance abuse treatment staff time. $72,000 for additional full-time substance abuse treatment staff position. And be it further resolved that approval is hereby granted for the grant funds to be spent in accordance with the terms of the grant, and the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services, Ms. Tracy Thorson, is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county any documents needed to carry out this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the County Board Supervisor members of the Health and Human Services Board, Carrie Severson, Peg Call, and Ingrid Glassbrenner, all signing in favor.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Thank you, Mr. Seep. Do we have a second? Mr. Cosgrove, seconds. This is good. This is a grant. This is money coming in, and it's a necessary thing. I saw some news this week, or maybe last week, on final award settlements being made against Big Pharma. And it's in the billions, and causing some of those entities to declare bankruptcy. But the good news is there are still some criminal cases pending, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's an aside. What's your pleasure? Do you approve of this resolution? If so, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Number 15, a resolution authorizing the purchase of 4 new laptop computers and warranties for the Department of Health and Human Services. Mr. Vlasic?
This would be Resolution 120. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Health and Human Services Department to purchase 4 new Lenovo laptop computers and warranties at a total cost of $6,712. And be it further resolved that funding or reimbursement for these purchases will be obtained as follows. A, $771.88 of the $1,678 cost of the Aging and Disability Resource Center laptop will be paid from Aging and Disability Resource Center funding. B, $350 of the cost of the Aging and Disability Resource Center laptop will be paid by aging funding. C, $556.12 of the cost of the Aging and Disability Resource Center laptop will be reimbursed by the Federal CARES Act funding. D, $1,678, which is the total cost of the public health laptop, will be reimbursed by Federal CARES Act routes to recovery funding. E, $3,356, which is the total cost of the 2 administrative unit laptops, will be reimbursed by Federal CARES Act funding. And be it further resolved that due to the necessity of avoiding a delay in transitioning staff to work remotely during the pandemic, the Health and Human Services Board made these purchases without county board approval in accordance with the emergency provision set forth in the second paragraph of E of Rule 14 of the Rules of the Board. And this action by the board is hereby ratified. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the County Board Supervisor members of the Health and Human Services Board. Gary Severson, Peg Call, and Amy Glassman are all signing in favor.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Severson, thank you. Do we have a second? Mrs. Call. All right, it sounds like we had to buy these things, but we're going to get reimbursed. So all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 16, resolution approving the emergency purchase and installation of an air purification system at the Simons Natatorium. Number 16, Mr. Vlasic.
This would be resolution number 121. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for a project consisting of the purchase and installation of an air purification system at the Simons Natatorium. And be it further resolved that the next to the lowest bid of Precision Controls LLC of Viola in the amount of $10,755 is accepted, and the contract for this project is hereby awarded to that firm. And be it further resolved that the cost of this project will be reimbursed through the Federal CARES Act. And be it further resolved that the action of Supervisor Tim Gotchel as chair of the Simons Natatorium Board in approving this project under the emergency provision, the second section E of Rule 14 of the Rules of the Board is ratified. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the County Board Supervisor members of the Simons Natatorium Board, Marty Brewer and Chad Cosgrove, both signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Van Lendine. Did I get that right? No, I didn't. Close enough, though, right? Do I have a second? Mr. Seep? I was at that meeting and, I know Tracy's here. If you have anything to add, is it in? Has it been installed? Good, good. And this will be, once again, CARES Act, reimbursable, so good deal. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 17, resolution extending the time to take vacation for the interim director of the Simon Sanatorium, Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 122. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for an extension from August 15th, 2020 to December 31st, 2020 for the interim director of the Simon Sanatorium, Ms. Tracy Gobin, to use her 3 weeks of accrued vacation. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Marty Brewer, Mark Cooey, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, and David Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Coy, seconded by Mrs. Gentis. Tracy can't do two jobs and go to ballet or someplace, so she has to have a little more time. All right, all those in favor of extending that time for her signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Okay. Number 19 then, we skipped 18 because it's repeated. Number 19, a resolution amending the Sheriff's Department addendum to the Handbook of Personnel Policies and Work Rules regarding compensatory time. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 123. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that paragraph 8A under the subheading compensatory time, under the heading compensation and fringe benefits of the Sheriff's Department's addendum to the Handbook of Personnel Policies is hereby amended by repealing the following crossed out numbers and adopting the following underlined numbers. A, the 24-hour threshold listed in the Handbook of Personnel Policies shall be 51 hours for Sheriff's Department employees working on a 6-on, 3-off schedule. The 40 hours per week language does not apply to the Sheriff's Department employees working a 6-3 schedule. Comp time is earned outside the normal 8.5-hour shift and outside the normal 6-day on and 3-day off schedule. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective at the start of the first pay period in November 2020. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Marty Brewer, Mark Cooley, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, Dave Turk, and Melissa Scott, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Cooley. Mr. Severson seconds. Comments, questions? Clint, can you shed some light on this?
Mr. Chair, this was done to kind of match previous amendments by the county board to change our handbook policy for other employees to go from being able to accrue from 20 to 40 hours. So this is coming back then and picking up these employees in a 51 capacity, so that they're, rather than accruing 25.5, they're able to accrue up to 50 hours.
Thank you.
Correction, 51 hours.
51 hours, all right. So you've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Well, all right, I have motions and seconds.
Did you get it?
And we have an explanation. I guess we're ready to vote on it. All those in favor of this change to the addendum signify by saying aye. Yes.
I missed your first and.
Cooey Severson.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. A resolution approving applying for a federal COVID-19 CARES Act grant for the court system and the Sheriff's Department. Mr. Vlasic, item number 20.
This would be resolution number 124. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for applying for and accepting a coronavirus emergency supplemental funds non-direct counties 2020 grant from the Wisconsin Department of Justice for the purpose of providing court employees with the ability to work remotely while maintaining full continuity of services and also providing various items to ensure the health and safety of the public and court and sheriff's department employees, including inmates in the jail. And be it further resolved that the grant funds in the total amount of $58,000 with no county match will be used to, number one, purchase and install a voice over IP Internet Protocol phone system for employees of the Circuit Court and the District Attorney's Office. Two, purchase personal protection equipment, plexiglass shields, hand sanitizer dispensers, and cleaning supplies for the Sheriff's Department and the Richland County Circuit Court. And be it further resolved that approval is hereby granted for the grant funds to be spent in accordance with the terms of the grant, and the county administrator is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county any documents necessary to carry out this resolution. And be it further resolved that it was necessary due to the grant application deadline for Supervisor Melissa Luck as chair of the Law Enforcement and Judiciary Committee to apply for this grant prior to getting approval from the county board. And she acted under the emergency provision of the second section E of Rule 14 of the Rules of the Board. And Ms. Luck's action in doing so is hereby ratified. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Marty Brewer, Mark Cooley, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mrs. Luck makes the motion, seconded by Mr. Cosgrove. Discussion. This was well done. Well played. Well done. I'm happy about it. Yes, Mrs. Luck.
I was notified today that we did receive the full 58,000.
Great. Wonderful.
Luck to get this done.
Thank you, Mr. Seep. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the resolution is adopted. The resolution authorizing the Emergency Management Department to apply for and accept a grant of federal funds. Item number 21, Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 125. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Emergency Management Department to apply for and accept a grant of federal funds from FEMA through the Wisconsin Emergency Management Department, with this grant being a planning grant through FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, and with the grant to cover $15,534.75 of the $20,713 cost of updating the county's All Hazards Mitigation Plan, and with the Wisconsin Emergency Management Department to cover $2,589.12 of this cost, and the remaining $2,589.13 will be covered by an in-kind non-financial county match. And be it further resolved that approval is hereby granted for entering into a contract with John Heinen of Richland Center, trading as J.T. Heinen Global Consulting, for assistance in the update of the county's All Hazards Mitigation Plan. And be it further resolved that the Director of the Emergency Management Department is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county such documents as are necessary to carry out this resolution. And be it further resolved that approval is hereby granted for the grant funds to be spent in accordance with the terms of the grant. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Emergency Management Committee, David Turk, Kerry Severson, and Marty Brewer, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Turk makes the motion, seconded by Mr. Williamson. This is a good one, another one of those good deals. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. I'm going to call a very, very brief recess at this moment. I need the committee on committees up here at this table. So 5 minutes at most, okay? The night is late. We've been at this for an hour.
Chair Brewer,
Yes.
we haven't voted on the temporary committee yet.
Oh, that's true, isn't it? Thank you.
Committee on committees shouldn't meet yet.
Yeah. Okay, and where is that on the agenda? That would be number 33. Yeah, we're not quite there yet. Well, I've got everybody stirred up now.
Do number 33 now.
Why don't we do number 33? Resolution creating a temporary administrative transition committee. Mr. Vlasic?
This will be resolution number 126.
Thank you.
Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the temporary county administrator transition committee is hereby created to complete the transition to the county administrator form of government, county government, with the composition and duties of the committee being as follows. 1, 3 supervisors appointed by the county board after receiving nominations from the committee and committees. 2, the committee shall identify the staffing needs of the county administrator, evaluate staffing levels across all departments in the county to identify what staff, if any, can be moved from other departments to the county administrator's office. Identify what office space the county administrator and his staff will occupy. 3, committee shall present its recommendations to the Finance and Personnel Committee as to staff and office space matters and to the Rules and Resolutions Committee as to the Handbook of Personnel Policies and addendums to conform to the statutory provisions relating to county administrators. And be it further resolved that a administrator transition account is hereby created and $500 is appropriated from the contingency fund to that account. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication and shall expire on February 1st, 2021. The resolutions offered by the Rules and Resolutions Committee, Marty Brewer, Melissa Luck, Carrie Severson, Linda Gentis, Ed Cosgrove, and Don Seep all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mrs. Gentis makes the motion, seconded by Mr. Frank. All right, this is a transition committee completing the work that we began last year that we didn't really complete. We left a lot of questions unanswered. We left a lot of people dangling without a clear path to the future. This is going to be a remedy to that situation. Any comments, any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. C.
the $500 budget, the purpose of that is to,
Meetings and transportation mileage.
all right, and will the committee have access to will that $500 cover it, access to the use of a professional consultant if the committee deems it is necessary?
Well, thank you.
And if so, is that $500 sufficient?
We have corporation counsel available, who's on retainer, so. Salary county employee.
In the past, we used, I think, Mr. Romanesco.
I'll refer to Mrs. Luck. What do you think about this?
I mean, I think that we've already, the ad hoc committee that we formed to do the administration didn't hire an outside person to consult with. We brought people in for consultation, but we didn't hire someone. So I think we would have the same sort of format for this in my mind.
That's correct. They basically volunteered their time and their mileage.
Yes. Ben,
I'll just speak loudly.
it's on.
It's an on.
Yes.
There are statutory legal issues involved here, and clearly I will be working with Administrator Langreich on these matters as I have in the past. And I look forward to working with him, assuming this is adopted.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor of establishing the transition committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we've done it now. It's been brought to my attention. I tell you, all this jumping around on the agenda is confusing, but we should go to number 29, a resolution creating temporary citizen participating planning committee relating to the community block development block grant close program. Because of when we have the committee and committee meetings, we'll want to talk about that as well. So, Mr. Vlasic, please. Number 29.
This will be resolution number 127. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that a temporary citizen participation planning committee is hereby created as follows. A, 5 members. B, members shall be representatives of Richland County demographics, including 1 low and middle income person, representatives from local government, real estate, banking, and labor, whenever possible. C, members of the committee shall be solicited by the Economic Development Director, nominated by the Committee on Committees and approved by the County Board. D, the committee shall be responsible for implementation of the Citizen Participation Plan, as well as offering guidance in preparation of the grant application. E, the Economic Development Director shall act as Secretary of the committee and ensure that meetings and hearings are scheduled in accordance with the Citizen Participation Plan. And be it further resolved that members of the Citizen Participation Plan Committee shall receive standard county mileage and per diems to be paid from the Economic Development account in the 2020 county budget. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication, and it shall expire on the later of the end of the Community Development Block Grant Close project or whichever is later. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Marty Brewer, Mark Cooley, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seat, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk all signing. Melissa Luck wasn't signing either way.
Oh,
Dave Turk signing in favor.
Okay, you've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure, Mr. Cooley? Seconded by Mr. Severson. Thank you. Comments, Jason?
Mr. Chairman, it might be a good idea, but not essential, to have an actual date for the expiration of the resolution. If you felt it was appropriate to put a date in, amendment could be made. Otherwise, that line could be left blank.
Mr. Glassbrenner, our Economic Development Director, please.
We've got 2 years to execute the grants, so you would say 2 years from basically February 1 of 2021, so 22, 23. February 1st of 2023. By then, technically, we're supposed to be completed with the projects, although they could grant an extension if there were extenuating circumstances.
Okay, so can we, do we have that as an amendment then? Yeah, Mr. Cooley, seconded by Mr. Manning.
February 21st, 2023 would be the amendment put in the black line.
Right. So we're amending the motion. So we'll vote on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we have the amended motion. And it's amended by putting an exact date there. So this is disposing of those funds that have been sitting out there for a long time. And finally, we're getting a handle on it. And we're going to do something. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We have it. All right, now I'm going to call that break and call the Committee on Committees up here, please. Clinton, you'll be joining us. Who is on the committee?
I think I did what you wanted on that.
Yep.
We're still in, this would still be technically an open meeting, so we'll still have to use the microphone, so motions and such up.
So we will take the committee on disposing of the, well, I shouldn't use that term, disposing, but handling the community development block grant.
So there's a couple different items to put together the block grant item. Then we also would have the transition team committee to assign.
Yeah.
And then we still need then affirmation from the committee on committees that we would have had last, oh, no, that one we do back up. So just those two. And I think we have the list for Jason is on your folder. Not that one. The proposed list that Jason has for his citizen participation committee is number 1, Mr. Darlo Wentz, 2, Melissa Luck, 3, Dan McGuire, 4, Lee D. Van Landite, and then 5, Shelley Plumer. Did I say that right, Jason? Plumer, thank you. And I'll pass the mic here to Director Glassbrenner to further discuss.
Okay, so Citizen Participation Committee is, per our guidelines, required for the oversight of the implementation of the Citizen Participation Plan. In speaking with the Department of Administration, there are no requirements for this committee to meet. My intent is to have the committee to meet and to provide reports to this committee. This committee is not actually the element of citizen participation. I think we had that misunderstanding in a previous meeting. This committee is to provide oversight to make sure that we are involving the citizenry in the decision-making process, or at least they're being well informed. Oftentimes, you wouldn't change your mind about the direction of the projects because it's too complex, but at least you have the opportunity to educate people and to hear their input in case something could be adjusted with the program. So 5 members, these people said they were willing to serve, and they represent different corners of the county as well as Richland Center. So I tried to pick people that were spread out throughout the county so that we had a good representation.
Thank you.
Darla Wentz, Melissa Luck, Dan McGuire, Lee Van Landite. I still have that.
Van Landite.
Van Landite and Shelley Plumer.
I'll make a motion that we go forward with that list.
Okay. Motion by Sean.
This is Chad, I'll second.
Second by Chad. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have a committee.
Just has great insight with regard to what's happening in Lone Rock. So he said he was willing to serve. That's all I can say.
He'll be there. Okay, our next committee is the,
Next will be for appointment for the
transition.
Administrative Transition Committee.
And I want Melissa on that committee, of course. And David Turk. And as a third member, I have talked to, and she has accepted Ingrid Glassbrenner. Do we have any objections to that?
Who's that again? What's the name again, please?
Melissa Lark.
And Dave Turk.
David Turk, Ingrid Glassbrenner.
Carrie Severson moves to nominate David Turk, Melissa Luck, and Ingrid Glassbrenner to the temporary administrative relocation transition committee.
I'll second the motion.
I think Chad already did, but all right. All right. I'll ask for a vote on those three names. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Okay. What else do you need from us, Clint?
You repeat those names because of the RCO and radio station's not here.
The names are Melissa Luck, Ingrid Glassbrenner, David Turk. Do they, for the transition committee? Do we have them? We're good.
Yes, and then when we go back to the county board, it'll be confirming those and then also confirming the ones that we would have done last Wednesday
Last
with
Wednesday,
committee.
yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Committee on Committees.
You're gonna have to wait a while, I think.
Uh,
21.
Yeah, it's cool.
27 is your,
Yeah, 25.
Did we do 21?
We did 21. Okay, you ready to sit down again? Okay, sit down. Let's proceed. Thank you. All right, excuse us for that brief interlude, which Ben and I think we're down to item number 25 on the agenda. And that is a resolution approving the Land Conservation Committee applying for and accepting a lake monitoring and protection grant from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Mr. Vlasic. Number 25.
this will be resolution number 128. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted to the Land Conservation Committee to apply for a lake monitoring and protection grant from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources in the amount of $9,578 to pay for staff time and supplies for aquatic invasive species projects in the county. And be it further resolved that there is no county match required for this grant, and approval is hereby granted for the grant funds to be spent in accordance with the terms of the grant, and the county conservationist, Ms. Kathy Cooper, is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county any documents needed to carry out this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the County Board Supervisor members of the Land Conservation Committee, Melissa Luck, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Steve Williamson, and Bob Frank all signing in favor. Melvin Frank.
Thank you. What's your pleasure, Mr. Van Lendijk? And the second, Mr. Williamson. And Kathy Cooper, do you care to comment?
Yes, this is a brand new grant. And they put out the information, and it started in June. They put out some information, so it's very new. This will be for the 2021, and if things go well, they will continue to do this every year. We have two choices. We can either do the county doing the grant or working with a certified nonprofit that can do the work. And because of the short time frame, we don't have the opportunity to get a nonprofit. So we're going to work on this ourselves. We'd be working with clean boats, clean water, at kayak and boat landings. some early detection of some species, and education and other things associated with it. So, and like I said, it's just, there's no grant, no match required. That's all I've got. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Seep?
The grant specifies lakes. How many lakes are there in the county?
They call it the lake grant, but it's lakes, streams, wetlands, water bodies. I don't know why they call it lake protection, but that was my question when I first saw it, but no, it's can be streams, rivers, wetlands too.
So has some thought been given to the pristine lake in Cazenovia? Lee Lake?
Well, that would definitely fall under clean boats, clean water with one thing because of the boat landing. And then, yeah, we would be looking at some of those lakes, especially lakes like that.
It would be interesting to hear from your committee or from your office the results of your work with the lake in Cazenovia. Thank you.
All right. Kathy, I don't see any other hands up here, so I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor of approving the Land Conservation Committee applying for and accepting a lake monitoring and fishing grant, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We have it. The resolution is passed.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. A resolution approving number 26, approving payment of the annual invoice for software for real property lister and the county treasurer, Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 129. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for payment from the real property listers account in the 2021 county budget of the annual invoice from GCS Software Incorporated of West Salem, Wisconsin, in the amount of $13,520 for 2021 for the county treasurer's tax program software and support, and the real property listers assessment program software and support. And be it further resolved that the county clerk shall forward a county check to GCS Software Incorporated in accordance with this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Marty Brewer, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Jensis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Cosgrove, seconded by Mr. Wagner. Any comments, any questions? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 27, a resolution granting hazardous duty pay to employees at Pine Valley Community Village and other critical infrastructure employees. Number 27, Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 130. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted to paying a one-time hazardous pay payment of $500 for full-time employees, $300 for part-time employees, and $150 for casual employees, with this payment to be made to employees of the following departments whose positions are listed on attached Exhibit A: Public Health, Emergency Medical Service, Ambulance, Sheriff's Department, Highway Department, Management Information System, Pine Valley Community Village. And be it further resolved that the total $97,351.60 cost of these payments will be paid from the following fund sources: $60,000 to all Pine Valley employees from the Federal COVID-19 CARES Act Relief Stimulus Fund, $31,631.60 for county emergency responders and critical infrastructure employees from the State Routes to Recovery Fund, $5,720 for highway patrolmen and equipment operators at the County Highway Department from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation funds. And be it further resolved that the County Administrator, Clinton Langrick, is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county any documents necessary to carry out this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Marty Brewer, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, and Dave Turk all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure, Mr. Wagner? Seconded by Mrs. Call. Mr. Langreck, perhaps you can fill us in a little more on this.
Mr. Chair, this is an effort to show our recognition and gratitude to those folks that are seen as endangered, further endangered, and then those folks also that are previously, when our Families First Act was put in place, were listed as exempt employees and do not have access to the PSLA program and also the Extended Family Medical Leave program, essentially not having that type of payment for time that they would lose for being either quarantined or for being put into isolation. So this doesn't match an apples for apples to those of our other employees that still have access to those benefits. But again, it's a way to try to recognize these employees for the hazardous conditions that they're serving in, and for them being exempted from the paid time off. Mr. Chair.
This is a flat award. It's not a continuing thing. It's like a bonus, right?
Correct. It's a one-time
One-time.
allocation. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have questions? Do we have comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 28, resolution relating to a community development block grant closed fund applications and administration. Number 28, Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 131. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the county to accept the bid of Beerbecker Incorporated of Reedsburg in the amount of $44,000 to provide consulting and assistance in regard to completing the grant application process and administering the grants for the Community Development Block Grant Close Program. And be it further resolved that the only potential cost of the county of this project is the approximately $9,000 cost of completing 2 grant applications, and the final 2 grant recipients shall each pay 50% of this cost. And be it further resolved that the county administrator, Clinton Langreck, is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county any documents necessary to carry out this resolution. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Marty Brewer, Mark Cooey, Sean Murphy Lopez, Linda Gentis, Don Seep, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk all signing in favor.
Heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Cooey and Mr. Van Lendijk seconds. Jason, comments back there?
Again, as was just explained, this is just what is necessary for us to have a consultant that can help us walk through the application and grant administration process, which will take place over the next 2 years. So I think the resolution speaks for itself. It's absolutely necessary to have this. I'm not able to be that extensively involved, nor do I have the expertise at this point in time to be able to walk the county through this process. So to get the 1.2 million, we're going to have to spend the 44.
Thank you. All those in favor of the resolution? Grant closed fund, block grant closed fund application administration, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. We've handled number 29. Takes us down to number 30, a resolution approving Families First Act amendments.
This will be resolution number 132. Now therefore be it resolved by Richland County that as employer hereby adopts as of April 2nd, 2020, the temporary policies contained in the Federal Families First Coronavirus Response Act, which modifies the requirements of the Family and Medical Leave Act, expands access to unemployment compensation and insurance benefits, and creates paid sick leave for eligible employees while the employee or his or her family are impacted by the COVID-19. And be it further resolved that eligible county employees can obtain an online Richland County Families First Coronavirus Response Request form and complete that form and email it or fax it to the county clerk's office. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective as of April 2nd, 2020, and it shall expire on December 31st, 2020. The resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Marty Brewer, Mark Hui, Linda Gentis, John Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Cooey? And Ingrid Glassbrenner, seconds. Clint, comment?
The changes that we'll be making on this include compliance with the Families First Act. Additional guidance came out on September 11th from Department of Justice, which further described and defined what healthcare providers are. Initially on the list was Pine Valley Community Village nurses and all staff. This redefines it to include a director of nursing, registered nurse manager, social service supervisor, social worker, registered nurse supervisor, registered nurse, licensed practical nurse, medication aid, unit clerk, certified nursing assistant, CBRF unit clerk, activity aid, personal care worker, resident assistants, and the changes being effective then for the 11 September date on the DOJ change.
Thank you. Any additional comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 31, a resolution relating to the county obtaining a tax deed to certain tax delinquent real estate in the city of Richland Center. Mr. Vlasic, number 31.
This would be resolution number 133. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the county to execute and issue a tax deed in favor of Richland County to the following described parcel of real estate in the city of Richland Center, which is known as tax parcel 276-168-48200, as to which the county owns and holds the following unredeemed tax certificates for the following tax years. The resolution is offered by the Property, Building, and Grounds Committee. Richard McKee, Ed Cosgrove, Steve Carroll, and Steve Williamson, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. McKee, seconded by Mr. Severson. This is getting some property. Yes, Bob?
This parcel is over by First and Orange Street, down the road this way. It's a greenhouse that sits, I think there's a commercial lot, residential lot, and then this lot. Did I say that right, Jason?
Okay. Ben?
I think this is owned by an estate. The lady who owned it died, and it's an estate.
Thank you. All right. You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Do you want to do this? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Mr. Severson, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay. I just had some discussion with this property.
Well, we've already voted, so
Yeah.
thank you. And I know you probably gone and looked at it because you do those kind of things, so I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Number 32. Is that right? We're down to 32. Yes, committee structure resolution relating to Hidden Valley Board is amending it. Mr. Vlasic, please.
This will be resolution 134. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the committee structure resolution is hereby amended by repealing the following crossed out words and adopting the following underlined words. Hidden Valleys Board. A, 1 member. B, appointee must be a member of the county board. C, member will report to the County Parks Commission on Hidden Valley expenses, appropriations, mileage, per diem, and matters impacting the Hidden Valley budget and agreement. And then under Parks Commission County, G is struck. Be it further resolved that paragraph H under Parks and Parks Commission County is hereby relettered paragraph G. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Rules and Resolutions Committee. Melissa Luck, Chad Cosgrove, Carrie Severson, and Don Seep, all signing in favor.
All right, you've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Seep, you're making the motion. Thank you. And do we have a second? Mr. Cooey. All right, somebody can explain this to me. We're amending that so they don't have to be on both, right?
Mr. Chair, we had initially addressed Hidden Valleys through our structure resolution only through the Parks Commission of saying that it had to be a member from there. We did not have any folks from our Parks Commission that were county board supervisors that had capacity and ability to fulfill the role of Hidden Valley. Our current person assigned to that has asked to be moved out because it conflicts with the work. So we're looking to strike that from the Parks Commission and then make its own spot in the structure, open it up then to a member from the county board that can serve in the capacity, but still then report back those pertinent types of things then to the Parks Commission. So I will be coming to hunt one of you down then after this.
Thanks for the warning. Thank you. Forewarned. Okay, we're amending that so you don't have to be a member of Parks to be on that Hidden Valleys board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we've amended. Resolution is adopted. Takes us down then to number 37, approving the purchase and installation of 4 new courthouse garage doors. Number 37, Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 135. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby given to a project consisting of purchasing and installing 4 non-ambulance courthouse garage doors. And be it further resolved that the only bid for this project, which was the $24,000 bid from Garage Door Express LLC of Lone Rock, is accepted and the contract for this project is hereby awarded to that firm. And be it further resolved that the cost of this project shall be paid from the capital fund, Fund number 75. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Marty Brewer, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mrs. Luck, seconded by Mrs. Call. One of the garage doors went kaflooey, and we replaced it on an emergency basis, but now we're going to replace all of them. Is that right?
That is correct. We had a failure, and the other ones are just as old. They're anticipated to fail, not a matter of if, but when. So we can't have a failure on our Sally Port or the other ambulance bay garage doors.
No, we cannot. No, we cannot. So we're replacing the garage doors. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Resolution authorizing the Finance and Personnel Committee to reimburse Sheriff's Department employees benefit time taken due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Number 38. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 136. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for reimbursing the 6 employees of the Sheriff's Department who to date have been required to use available leave time due to being required by the county to isolate because of their exposure to COVID-19 positive persons while on duty. And be it further resolved that the Finance and Personnel Committee is hereby authorized to make such reimbursements to Sheriff's Department employees who fall into this category in the future without further county board approval. And be it further resolved that the funds for these reimbursement payments shall be paid from federal COVID-19 CARES Act funds. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Marty Brewer, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. Seep, seconded by Mrs. Luck. Any comments? Clint, comment?
Mr. Chair, this was, again, we found that through the Routes to Recovery Act, we were able to reimburse or seek reimbursement for wages lost for our law enforcement types of personnel. With those wages coming back to the county, it seemed appropriate then to reimburse these employees that were impacted for their lost sick time used while they were quarantined.
Thank you. Yes?
With reviewing on it, I believe that the language used was for law enforcement. It was kind of two different sets of policies. The Families First Act and classification for that is based on the federal coming down through Families First, and routes to recovery is through a different set of language through the state.
Mr. Seep.
I appreciate Mr. Cooey's comment. I think it might be off the agenda. And I do believe that it could be considered at a future date, perhaps by the Personnel Committee and with the Highway Committee's recommendation.
I have asked Administrator Langdrick to review this whole policy, and I believe he will be coming up with maybe recommendations, maybe explanations, maybe a report for us. Thank you. If I didn't make it clear, we want to look at this again.
I want to commend Mr. Cooey for his, as usual, intelligent question.
Thank you, Mr. Seep. Okay, we have a resolution which is approving makeup time, basically, for the Sheriff's Department. It comes out of a fund. Mr. Frank.
My question is, this is coming from the Federal CARES Act. Do we know what the dollar figure is and what happens if that runs out and we're still having trouble with the personnel that need to be home? How are we going to handle that, or where was that going?
Through the routes to recovery, our last expenditure date that we can submit for reimbursements is November 6th. That money will be depleted. We're looking for ways to try to capitalize on all of it, which is to include like the hazardous pay that we just made motion to utilize as well. We also do have, I think, some folks at BOAS might be helping us out with transferring potentially over another 4,000 that they're not going to be allocating. So between PPE, hazardous types pays, some other different compensatory reimbursements that we can use, we're trying to utilize that full 262,000 and potentially another 4,000 from BOAS by November 6th.
Okay, and this resolution says that this can be continued. The Sheriff's Department can continue this if they need to. Are the funds going to dry up, and how?
The funds right now would set our last expenditure that we can make would be November 6th. If there is another federal package that comes down and they keep the same type of rights to recovery program in place and then do another reallocation, then there could be a potential for it. But as of right now, it would be set to expire with the last day of November 6th for claimed expenses.
So after November 6th, if there's a situation with the Sheriff's Department having a COVID issue, that would not be funded?
Correct. We would not have access to routes for recovery at that time.
Mr. Southwick has suggested, Bob, that perhaps you want to amend it and put in a date certain. If you want to offer that as an amendment, you may.
I'm not so much concerned about a date certain. I'm concerned about the funds running out, and then the officers would not have the ability to recover that time because there would be no funding. What would the county be doing beyond that? I think law enforcement has the ability to look at that. I think we've got a small window of time to look at that. But if funding runs out in November and we have problems in December and January and February, how are we going to support the department for that?
It's your congressman.
Thank you, Bob. Those are good comments. And Mr. Southwick.
Yeah, the way the resolution's worded, it clearly does not expire on November 6th. The authority given to the Finance and Personnel Committee extends beyond November 6th. So if one wanted to make it clear that the payments were not to be made after November 6th, one could offer an amendment that the resolution expires on November 6th, but that's just a thought.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Seep.
I thought the point was that federal funds will not be available after November 6th. Is that correct, Mr. Langford?
That is right now our guidance for when we can have our last accrued expenses to go towards routes to recovery.
Correct. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I will make the amendment. November 6th date.
Be added. Okay, Mr. Williams is making a motion to amend.
And
Gary Severson, second.
would that amendment be, Supervisor, that the last paragraph would read, be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication and shall expire on November 6, 2020?
All right, the amendment's been made. Let's vote on the amendment expiring November 6th. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have the amended motion. Now we have the amended resolution. Are we ready to vote? All? Yes.
I'd like to ask Mr. Chair, Mr. Langrecht, his thoughts about this amendment in terms of is it administratively a problem?
No, the amendment on it is going to reflect what we would be obligated to kind of.
All right, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify the amended resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted. A resolution approving the purchase and installation of new carpeting in the large courtroom number 39. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 137. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the purchase and installation of new carpeting in the large courtroom to be installed after the new telecommunication and digital recording systems have been installed in that courtroom. And be it further resolved that the bidding statutes were complied with, and the only bid was from Badgerland Flooring of Southwestern Wisconsin, LLC of Richland Center, in the amount of $27,957.63. And that bid is hereby accepted in the contract, and the contract for this project is hereby awarded to that firm. And be it further resolved that the cost of this project shall be paid for from the Capital Borrowing Fund, Fund number 75. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Marty Brewer, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seep, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mr. McKee, seconded by Mr. Cooley. We're going to carpet the courtroom. It needs it, Mr. Wagner. It needs it. And we're digging up the floor, putting in cabling. So we're going to have to do something. Yep,
Place to get cold on the carpet anyway.
sure. All those in favor of new carpeting for the courtroom signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We got it. A resolution approving the Sheriff's Department purchase of 18 automated external defibrillators. Mr. Vlasic.
This will be resolution number 138. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for purchasing 18 Physio Control LifePak CR-2 automated external defibrillators with an 8-year manufacturer's warranty plus 3 spare pad sets and 2 spare batteries from SOS Technologies Incorporated of Chicago at a total cost of $21,055. And be it further resolved that this purchase shall be paid with funds from the Capital Improvement Fund, Fund number 75. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolutions offered by the Finance and Personnel Committee, Marty Brewer, Chad Cosgrove, Linda Gentis, Sean Murphy Lopez, Don Seat, Melissa Luck, and Dave Turk, all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? These AEDs are the things that zap you when you go down. So what's your pleasure? Mrs. Luck, seconded by Mr. Wagner. We need them. They should be in every squad. All those in favor signify by saying yes. Yes,
Did they not have any AEDs before this?
I think they did, but they were outdated and outmoded and didn't work all the time, so.
Mr. Chair, Chief Porter's available if you had wanted to send the question his way.
Clay, did you want to comment on the AEDs?
Yes, I think you're very correct on that. We do have AEDs currently. They are getting outdated. We're slowly losing them one at a time. We do not have enough for every squad car, and our goal is to get them in the county.
Thank you. We need them. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We got them. Number 41, a resolution urging Governor Evers and the legislature to provide state funds for counties to upgrade their 911 emergency response system. Mr. Vlasic.
This would be resolution number 139. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county board hereby urges Governor Evers and the legislature to provide $15 million annually for grants to counties through the State Police and Fire Protection Fund to enable counties to upgrade their 911 emergency response systems to a digital next generation 911 system, as well as for the ongoing maintenance of the digital systems. And be it further resolved that the county board further urges Governor Evers and the legislature to support the budget request of the Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs to continue the building of the statewide emergency services network, which is the first step in the transition to a digital emergency response system, and for an annual appropriation for the ongoing maintenance of that system. And be it further resolved that the county clerk is hereby directed to send a copy of this resolution to Governor Tony Evers and to all members of the legislature whose districts include any part of Richland County. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Law Enforcement Committee and Judiciary Committee. Melissa Luck, Dave Turk, Kerry Severson, and Chad Cosgrove all signing in favor.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure, Mr. Van Lindijk? And seconded by Mr. Cosgrove. So we're telling the governor to get off the mark here and appropriate some money. Yes, Bob?
So this falls under what's known as Act 26. Act 26 is a legislative, it's passed the legislature. It's going through the process of deciding what the rules are to fund the 911 centers, the PSAPs. So the legislature, Act 26, did not appropriate any funding. It just set the rules for how to do the grant. And we're working on that right now through the 911 subcommittee, trying to set those rules up. So I'm very thankful for this. I hope all the counties do this. I know a lot of agencies are been supporting this. We've been getting a lot of letters on this. I would ask for one small change on this. Under, where did I see it here? I had it listed and so under be it further resolved that the county board further urges Governor Evers and the legislators to support the budget request of Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs to continue building of the statewide emergency services network. I would suggest after that put a parenthesis, ESI net. It's called the ESI-net, and that will identify clearly which network we're talking about here.
Could you say that more slowly?
Sure.
Just the.
So after the word network,
Yes.
parenthesis, capital letter E, capital letter S, capital letter I, lowercase n, E, T, close parenthesis. The ESI-net is the Emergency Services Network, and that will identify exactly what this means.
Can we accept that as a typo?
I think it needs an amendment.
Okay, are you making that amendment, Bob?
making that amendment.
All right, seconded by Mr. Manning. Let's vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, Mr. Seep.
Mr. Chairman, you had a motion on the primary request.
I think we did we not?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, Yes, we did.
All right. My question is, maybe I have more than one question. I'm interested in the genesis of this. Did this come from the Department of Military Affairs or Wisconsin Counties Association? Are other counties involved in this? What's the connection?
I'm going to ask Bob to comment on that.
Yes. Where is this coming from?
So this is coming out of a number of areas. Primarily right now, Wisconsin Counties Association is really pushing this. The letter that came out was also supported under Wisconsin counties by the Badger Sheriffs, Wisconsin Land Information, WIPSCOM, NEDA, APCO. There's a number of other organizations that are supporting this. This has been a project that we've been working on for probably 4 or 5 years to tap into the funding of the Police and Fire Protection Fund. So where does that money come from? I think this is important for everybody to know. If you look at your cell phone bill, it says on there 75 cents goes to the Police and Fire Protection Fund. That generates approximately $50 million a year and is intended to go towards the 911 services. Currently, I think we're at 11 million. This would bring it up to the 24, 25 million that we're trying to get to bring these services and bring the funding to the counties to pay for the PSAPs, to pay for the EZNet, to pay for training for telecommunicators. Does that help your answer?
I think so. I think you said in essence the primary thrust is with the Wisconsin Counties Association and its affiliates. Second question, another question is this: what is the connection, and why is that connection with the Department of Military Affairs?
So the Department of Military Affairs was given the Office of Emergency Communications. It's a state office which handles the 911. It handles state communication with WISCOM. It handles a lot of training things. It is an office that was set up, and then to put it someplace, it had a choice of either going under Department of Transportation or the Department of Military Affairs. At the time, Governor Walker chose to put it under the Department of Military Affairs because the Department of Military Affairs also handles a lot of communication things and projects like that, and they thought that would be the best place for it.
Yes, I know that there's been some controversy and some pushback about the militarization connection with law enforcement.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Seep. I think we'll vote on this now. We have an amended version with a further clarification of what we're talking about. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we're going to send the letter. A resolution authorized number 42, resolution authorizing the Sheriff's Department to become an active member in the Project Lifesaver Program. Mr. Vlasic, number 42.
This would be resolution number 140. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Sheriff's Department to become an active member of the Project Lifesaver Program. And be it further resolved that Sheriff Jim Bindle is hereby authorized to sign on behalf of the county the document entitled Project Lifesaver Active Membership Operational Agreement and Standard. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. The resolution is offered by the Law Enforcement and Judiciary Committee. Melissa Locke, Carrie Severson, Dave Turk, okay, Chad Cosgrove, all signing in favor, I think.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mrs. Luck, seconded by somebody, Mr. Frank.
Mr. Chair, can I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ms. Leanne Borkowski is a citizen of Richland County who's worked really hard to get this program into our county. She's managed to get the funds together to do this project. So if she's been online patiently waiting. So if she is online, I would like her microphone unmuted so she can just give you a brief explanation of what this excellent program is.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, good. This is Lee Borkowski, and I'm working with a group of other citizens, including Dr. Smith, Roxanne Huberance, Gina Luck, Angela Young, and some others to bring Project Lifesaver to Richland County. And Project Lifesaver is a tracking mechanism that is used for people that suffer from Alzheimer's, autism, various mental impairments. So we have raised funds to purchase all of the equipment that would be needed for county and city law enforcement to have receivers on hand. People in the county will sign up to wear a transmitter, and then if that person should wander, they would place a call to law enforcement. Law enforcement would use the receivers to triangulate where they are. And the benefit is that it greatly shortens response time when trying to find a lost individual. And so the program will be fully funded. We've raised, I think it's $9,450 to date. Our goal is $10,000, but that will give us all of the equipment and training that's needed for the county and the city. And it's being supported by the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Bindle, and then also by City Police, Billy Jones.
Thank you. Mr. Wagner has a comment or question?
I'm wondering how many devices or whatever that is going to be allocated.
Okay, can someone answer that? How many devices?
We are going to have, as far as devices for people that could be tracked to start our program, we'll have, I believe, 6 is our plan. As far as receivers to triangulate to be able to find, we've allocated for 5, and we have training down for 8. I believe it's 8 individuals. And then the actual wrist bracelet or ankle bracelet, it could be worn either place, that the people would wear. The cost of those is $350 to purchase it. It has a 6-year unconditional warranty. And Jackie Carley from Schmidt Woodland Hills is on our committee and believes that they will be using it for some of their residents. And she did the math and said that it's coming down to a cost of less than $80 a year, which is so, in my opinion, so very reasonable to be able to help keep track of someone that might wander, that you might lose.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Luck?
I just wanted to add some clarification. So they're providing the equipment, and the Sheriff's Department's role in all of this is that they are the staff that will go out looking for anyone who happens to wander off, using the equipment to find them, which they would be doing anyway. If someone wanders off, they would be asked to help search, and this will help greatly reduce the time that someone might be out in the elements. And the other thing that she didn't bring up was that there's potential that the bracelets can be covered by people's insurance as well, so more people can possibly tap into getting the bracelets.
Thank you. Mr. Sieb?
The client would, pardon me, the client would either be responsible for paying the $300 or is it his or her insurance would cover it? Is that correct?
That is correct. Or Project Lifesaver Richland County will have some grants available or a lending closet, if you will. So insurance would be our first tact, and then private funding by the individual if possible, otherwise a lending closet.
Thank you. Well, it sounds like a worthy thing to me, and I'm ready to vote. Are you? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Number 43, the election of Pine Valley Board of Trustees member. Number 43, Mr. Lessig. We don't have a resolution, right?
No, no resolution.
This is going to be an election, yes.
Mr. Chairman, before we had a county administrator, the county board by statute elected members of the Board of Trustees, but now that we have a county administrator, the county administrator has authority to appoint members of the Board of Trustees of Pine Valley, subject to confirmation by the county board.
Recommending appointment today of Pat Ripken, thank you. Pat Ripchen to the Pine Valley Healthcare Rehabilitation Center Board of Trustees, appointment date of October 27th, 2020, replacing Mary Miller. And this recommendation came through Administrator Rislow, was also entertained by Committee on Committees, with them voting in favor. Did I get everything, Clerk Vlasic?
We have Richard McKee also. His term expires in January.
Oh, thank you. And for, also then for Richard McKee, with the expiration date then extending out 3 years.
Okay. Are you looking for a motion then?
I'll need a motion to confirm those appointments brought forward.
Okay, Mr. Cooley, Mr. Manning seconds. Mr. Cooley makes the motion, Mr. Manning seconds.
Question?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Are these staggered terms, Mr. Administrator?
I'd have to look at my structure.
Yes, they are, yes.
I think they are.
I think that we have them in a rotation, and then if somebody, like with Mary's position, we would still have it staggered out to complete that rotation. Is that correct?
I think they're staggered terms.
Staggered term, yeah. The one, Ripchen is replacing Mary Miller, has resigned from the board, so.
I have the listing if you want.
So my question is, when is what is the length of the terms of each of these appointees?
Richard McKee, his expires January of 2021. Mary Miller's expired January of 2022. Peg Call, January of 2022. Marty Brewer, January 2023. And Don Seep, January 2023. So Mary Miller's spot will be completed by Pat Ripchen. And then Richard would get a brand new 3-year term.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve Mrs. Ripchen. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Now, the next thing we have is appointments to various boards, commissions, and committees. The Committee on Committees has met twice now in the past couple of weeks, and we have some names to consider. Clint, I'll let you take it.
Today we have several coming from the Committee on Committee meetings on October 21st. There was a recommended appointment of Buford Marshall, citizen member, to the Fair and Recycling Committee, appointment date of October 27th, 2020, which Buford would be taking a vacant slot. The next appointment would be for Jane Musey, Richland Center representative member, to the Nutrition Advisory Council, appointment October 27th, 2020, replacing Eva Jo Putz. This recommendation coming through the Health and Human Services Board. We have a correction for appointments. Last month, we made an approval for impacting Aaron Gray. It was inadvertently put on there as Aaron Craig, and this was for the Transportation Coordinator Committee, filling the member of Consumer Advocate SFCA representative. So again, that would be Mr. Aaron Gray, who last month we passed as Aaron Craig. So just affirming that that is who we want on serving on that committee. This evening, we had action on 2 different committees during our recess. The first one was appointment of citizen participation members for the Citizen Participation Planning Committee. The member names that were brought forward through Committee on Committees is Darla Wenz, Melissa Luck, Dan McGuire, Lee D. Van Landite, and Shelley Plumer. And they would be serving on the Citizen Participation Planning Committee that we also had made resolution tonight to establish.
That's for the Community Development Block Grant funding.
And then Committee on Committees during the recess also met to establish, to propose members for the administrative transition team. And those being brought forward were Luck, Turk, Glassbrenner.
Okay, thank you. All right, a bunch of names there. Mr. Cosgrove, are you making a motion to accept those? And Mr. Wagner, are you seconding that motion? Okay, now, discussion? Any problems, any objections with those appointments? All right, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the appointments listed signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. It's okay for you to appoint those people, Clint? Yes, sir.
Technically, the county administrator appoints members of boards and commissions, and the county board appoints members of committees. Realize it's a fine distinction, but that is what the statute says.
Finest frog, okay. I think that, believe it or not, brings us down to our last item on the agenda, I believe. Was there any correspondence? Okay, but in a change in procedure or change in tradition, we normally do not have a November meeting. We feel it is necessary to have one, but we're talking about a virtual meeting on November 17. What's that?
November 17th would be our third Tuesday of the month.
So I will entertain a motion. Yes, sir.
Well, it's got 21 people and then 4 more virtual is almost impossible.
Thank you. Well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to November 17th.
Is that a night meeting?
It'll be a night meeting, 7 p.m. meeting, the format of which is to be determined. Mr. Okay, and Mr. Manning will second. All those in favor of adjourning of November 17th, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you for your attention.
That was a long one.